It's the morning of July 6, 2021. Maya Higa wakes up her housemates Mitch Jones and Mizkif in a panic. Something is seriously wrong and they have to act now. The three of them have made successful careers online, with Maya and Mizkif's growing popularity on Twitch and Mitch Jones' streaming and music career. Mizkif has worked to build up a network of content creators in Austin, Texas over the last several years, along with a loyal fan base. Together, they have millions of followers and tens of thousands of concurrent viewers. But all of that is in jeopardy right now because of allegations against a fourth housemate. Overnight, a streamer called Novaru made some very serious allegations against Mizkif's best friend, Crazy Slick. After Maya wakes Mitch and Mizkif up, they discuss what they need to do next. Maya and Mitch leave the house to visit with a streamer named Adrianahlee. Adriana was about to write a twit longer that she had never intended to release, but now she was backed into a corner with no other way out. If you believe one group of people, what you're about to hear is the story of Mizkif believing his best friend and defending him until the bitter end based on the information he was given. If you believe another group of people, this is the tale of a dark conspiracy and cover-up in an effort to protect a dangerous person. What makes these allegations so sinister is not only what was alleged to have happened at a party back in 2020, but the alleged cover-up that destroyed friendships, careers, and lives. Let's take a look at the evidence together and see what makes these Twitch's darkest allegations.
These people are all corrupt rats. They're idiots. They need you and I to be the villain. They need their heroes to be the heroes. None of this is about truth.
People I've literally known for years, like we're super close with, have turned on me and tried to come up with some random reason to not like me. Their careers are also taking a toll, and it's not fair to them that their careers are taking a toll for something that happened to me when I was sleeping. Something I didn't even want to f***ing say. Something Novaru f***ing came out about.
Did Miz explicitly give direction to you and Maya and whoever the f*** else was in that room to go to Adriana's house and to quote-unquote downplay the situation or find a way to save Slick's ass? Yes or no?
The answer to that is yes.
I brought Mitch and Maya over, and I was there when Maya was trying to get her to downplay the story. And because of Mizkif, this dude was able to just be a creep to even more girls.
I was there with her while she was writing it, but it was not like I'm not like holding a gun to this girl's head. I'm not like trying to pay her off. I'm not blackmailing her into saying what I want her to say.
When your best friend is getting canceled, man, I'm sorry you want to act. I'm sorry you just want to act.
I don't want to make any predictions, but like I'm pretty sure Mizkif is maybe completely gone. His streaming career might be over.
It's the night of January 19th, 2020, and the streamer Nova has her 21st birthday party. In attendance was another streamer named Adrianahlee. Throughout that night, Adriana ended up getting intoxicated because she was comfortable around her friends and trusted them to make sure that nothing would happen to her. While Adriana was drinking, she ended up making out with her other friend Ina, and that caught the attention of someone who was following around Adriana that whole night. Crazy Slick attempted to kiss Adriana multiple times throughout that night. Eventually, while Adriana was really drunk, Crazy Slick ended up making out with her in the kitchen of the Airbnb, and after this, Adriana went into a room with all of her friends where she should have been able to relax and pass out without any worry that someone would bother her. But multiple times that night, Crazy Slick came into the room and touched her neck and chest, claiming that he was checking her pulse because he was supposedly worried about her. After this incident, Adrianahlee felt like it wasn't a huge deal and wasn't going to speak on it, but that would all change 18 months later in July of 2021 when Nova spoke about the incident on her live stream. Now, even though Nova didn't mention Adriana by name, she did make the whole situation pretty obvious, getting to a point where Adriana had to make a twit longer about the incident and how she felt really uncomfortable with Crazy Slick and how she was also angry with Nova because it wasn't her situation to talk about and her and Nova were never really friends. Crazy Slick looked like a creep and ended up making a twit longer apologizing for his actions and making Adriana and her friends feel very uncomfortable, but he insisted that he was only going into that room to make sure that Adriana was okay.
Over the next year, the landscape of Twitch underwent radical change. Popular streamers were approached by online gambling companies and offered massive amounts of money to gamble on stream. Many streamers were gambling on Twitch without sponsored deals just because they enjoyed it, and it brought in a lot of viewership. But for the ones who made deals, the level of wealth they were handed is astounding. One popular streamer during this time became the face of gambling on Twitch, Trainwreck. He wasn't the only streamer taking gambling sponsorships on Twitch, not by a long shot, but the level of money he was pulling in made him a light lightning rod for controversy. At one point, he said he was making in excess of $1 million per month. Another streamer that was offered a huge deal was mizkif. On a stream in April 2022, mizkif revealed that he had been offered $10 million a year to gamble on stream for just 15 hours a month. The reason he turned it down tells us a lot about who he is.
The biggest problem I had with it is I would have to move to Canada. That it really was to me, like, what I was thinking about the most. Like, I don't want to move to Canada. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to, like, it almost made me go like, I would never do it.
Others on the platform were not able to resist the urge to gamble though, and for some, pastime turned into compulsion, and compulsion opened up into the abyss of addiction. One streamer who found himself in this dark place was a streamer called Slicker. Slicker had secretly gotten extremely addicted to sports betting. It was not going well for him financially, but most people weren't aware how deep a hole he had dug himself. In September of 2022, the dam broke, and a flood of people went public with their stories of how Slicker had messaged them asking for money and then never paid it back. Popular financial YouTuber CoffeeZilla released a video on September 19th showing that he had found evidence of 55 victims who had been swindled out of at least $384,000 by Slicker. Some people saw this as an opportunity to make a push to ban gambling from Twitch once and for all. People with large audiences like Ludwig, Pokimane, and mizkif tweeted that it was time for Twitch to do something. Popular streamer Asmongold tweeted, "How in the f is Slicker not banned on Twitch? Guy literally uses the platform to defraud dozens of people, streamers and viewers alike, and admits it. Gideon is still sitting a perma while Slicker gets to go live and laugh about an actual crime. It's an absolute disgrace, Twitch." Trainwreck replied, "Because your pals decided it was in their best interest to use and platform the very person that scammed everyone for his horse racing and tennis bets to somehow twist it and wage their war against me. And we both know deep down why the insecure little man is doing this." The person Train was referring to was quick to reply, "If we're going to deplatform people for scamming others, shouldn't we have banned you for Joltcoin a few years back?" What Train replied turned out to be an absolute bombshell. "Are you going to send Maya and Mitch to railroad and blackmail me like you did those girls to cover up all those sexual assaults, you f***ing scumbag piece of... Then you better be sure you don't live in a glass house, you insecure..." mizkif was quick to delete his tweet, and Train clarified that he wasn't alleging that mizkif assaulted women, but that he orchestrated cover-ups for his friends, exactly how my tweet reads. What the hell was Train talking about? For many, this was the first time they had heard about any of this. Did mizkif really orchestrate a cover-up to protect his friend? And what actually happened at that party back in 2020? Over the next few days, some things would become even more obscured. People would give accounts of the events that contradicted other people's stories, and sometimes even their own. New information came out that was never made public the first time this was talked about in 2021. Novaru had told the story originally without Adriana's consent, 18 months after the night of the party. Adriana herself says she was drunk and passed out and doesn't remember what happened. She also said that she had only recently learned that it was SA. Without video evidence, it's hard to really know exactly what happened that night because it's one person's word against another's. Even so, a damning picture of Slick's character began to emerge as women began to contact Adriana to share their stories about their experiences with Slick. They said that Slick sent them inappropriate messages, wouldn't take no for an answer, touched them inappropriately, sent unsolicited inappropriate pictures, and more. Adriana posted stories from at least 10 other women about their experiences with Crazy Slick. While the specific events of the night of the party were disputed, now no one could deny that Slick was at best a creep. Many people started to question why Train had brought all this up now. Why use it as ammo during an argument about gambling? Train addressed this, saying that people shouldn't be worried about the timing, but instead the content of what was said. Adriana had this to say.
"I'm sick of everybody coming at X and coming at Train saying, you guys knew you were waiting for the right time to drop it. It was the right time to drop it, because if it was dropped any other time, now, I'll tell you this, if it was dropped any other time, it would have gotten pushed under the rug just like it was before."
Slick himself tweeted, "I never checked her pulse on her chest, I checked her neck and wrist only." He would go on later in the day to delete this tweet. After this, Slick went dark. Late that night, mizkif took to his offline chat. "I'm worried about him. He's not home. I don't know where he is. He just said that he's going to a girl's house, but I don't know where he is. Stop being worried about Slick. Asmon said he doesn't want anyone to have contact with him. How stupid is that? I do care. He's my best friend, my rock for 4 years. This shit is so hard. Bro, please, where's Slick? I can't find him." The sudden disappearance of Crazy Slick wasn't the only problem mizkif was facing at the moment. If mizkif and others had used one situation to try and get gambling banned, some people were using this situation to try and take down mizkif. One of those people was Ice Poseidon, a permanently banned ex-Twitch streamer who mizkif used to work with, but they'd since had a falling out. The night Slick went missing, Ice Poseidon tweeted, "Mizkif, I brought you into this world and now I'm taking you out," along with 4 screenshots of Miz saying racial slurs. Mizkif had already apologized for these in the past, but they added fuel to a fire that was getting out of control. Someone on Twitter posted a clip that went viral of Mizkif talking about the Adriana situation sometime in the past.
I don't think there's a single person that we used to hang out with that doesn't hang out with Slick anymore because of what happened. I actually think there's literally none. Because the reality is, worst comes to worst of it, it's like sexual harassment, right? I mean, like, no one, of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment, whatever. At a low scale, it's not really a big deal. I don't think people really gave a shit and really cared.
Everything coming out looked extremely damning for mizkif and Maya. Mitch Jones had helped them back in 2021, but now he was turning on them. When asked what instructions mizkif gave them before they went to Adriana's house the day she wrote her twit longer, Mitch had this to say.
The exact words that were said were like, "Maya, you are Maya Higa. You know who you are. You're a woman. She'll listen to you." Not like maybe listen's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. She, like, does that make any sense? Those were along the lines. And then he looked at me and he was like, "Mitch, you should shut the fuck up and not say a goddamn thing." And that was that.
While all of this was playing out online, unknown to the public, many of the people involved got in a Discord call to hash all this out. Unknown to the other people in the call, one of them was recording it. The entire call got leaked. YouTube streamer Destiny was given a copy of the recording, which took place on the night of September 19th, and he began to analyze it live on his stream. By this point, a huge number of people were following the story. Reddit was exploding with conspiracy theories, and hundreds of clips regarding the situation clogged the front page of LSF, and news outlets began picking up the story. Destiny went live to analyze the leaked call, and his stream reached over 58,000 concurrent viewers at one point. The situation had spiraled from a Twitter argument into a full-blown catastrophe for everyone involved in less than 24 hours. As Destiny began his leak, several new details came to light that weren't clear before, and new characters in the story were revealed. The heated conversation in the leaked call quickly focused onto figuring out what actually happened the day Mitch and Maya went to visit Adriana, the day she wrote her twit longer. One of the people on the call was Barry. Barry is an old school Twitch personality and friend of Mitch Jones. It turns out he went with Maya and Mitch Jones to see Adriana the day she wrote the twit longer. His claims about what really happened would shed new light on the situation.
It's basically Maya gaslighting Adriana the whole time. Basically saying, "Are you sure this is what Slick did to you? You're pretty drunk. You wouldn't remember it. Are you sure? That doesn't sound something like Slick would do. We know Slick." And then she was like, "If you tweet longer, Crazy Slick, this won't be good for your streaming career."
Destiny was quick to point out that everyone on this call had an agenda or a side of the story they were trying to push, which would color the way they described past events heavily. This is where the real fork in the road starts. Trainwreck and Barry characterized the fact that mizkif sent Maya and Mitch Jones to visit Adriana before she wrote the twit longer as malicious. They claim that Maya was there to gaslight her, to bully her into downplaying the situation and make Slick seem like he wasn't such a bad guy so that mizkif wouldn't have to kick him out of the house and end their friendship. Train claimed that just the fact that they showed up that day was a power play to intimidate Adriana and sweep the whole thing under the rug. Barry said that Maya had encouraged Adriana to either post the twit longer anonymously or not do it at all. But if Maya had gone to get the facts from Adriana, to question her to see if Slick had really done something worthy of being kicked out of mizkif's house and cut out of their lives, her tough questions could easily be construed as something more sinister, even if that wasn't the intention. Exactly what Maya's intentions were that day and what was said between her and Adriana, we may never know. But Maya would go live later in the day to tell the story from her perspective.
And I asked her if she thought that Slick actually assaulted her. And at the time, we agreed, or at the time, she said no. So I said, okay, could you include that in your twit longer then? Was there a power dynamic in that situation? Because I'm a bigger streamer, yes. And I feel bad about that. It wasn't my intention to introduce that to the situation. I wasn't trying to impose that on her. I wasn't trying to pressure her, or like force her into saying something. But did it naturally exist? Yes.
Back in the leaked call, mizkif had a very different take on what had happened that day.
I want you to listen to the scenario. I woke up. I remember the whole day. It was one of the scariest days of my lives. My best friend in the whole world, Slick, is getting accused of, people are saying he's about to get canceled. I run in his room. Maya's crying. I'm freaking the f*** out. I'm hyperventilating. Mitch is there. We're all trying to figure out what the f*** we can do for my best friend, right? I care about Slick. I f***ing do. I love the guy. And people were telling us, mainly Barry, that, yo, Adrianahlee's about to come out with some shit. I am freaking out, and I'm literally crying because I'm saying to myself, I'm going to lose my best friend. I'm going to lose my best friend in the entire world. Maya's upset. Mitch is sitting there. We're all freaking out. So then I tried to get answers. I tried to get, what is Adrianahlee thinking? What is going on here? What's happened in my best friend? I wanted to know.
Mizkif's motivations didn't make sense to anyone else in the call. Why would he put his entire career on the line for a guy who had such a mountain of allegations against him?
When your best friend is getting canceled, man, I'm sorry you want to act. I'm sorry you just want to act.
During the course of the conversation, it becomes apparent that Mizkif was still holding out hope that somehow Slick wouldn't be canceled, and the conversation turned into everyone else trying to convince him to cut ties. Mizkif said that his lawyer was texting him, and then his mic went silent. On Twitch, Adrianahlee had gone live. Adriana explained that a story that she hadn't even intended to tell publicly had been haunting her life for the past 2 years, and sought to clear the air about a lot of things.
I don't know what is assault defined. He did not me. He did not stick a finger on me or whatever, but he did try to touch my chest. He touched my chest multiple times when he was asked to stop. Multiple times. He kept insisting multiple times to do that.
Adriana then called a crucial witness to get his recounting of what actually happened at Nova's party. This friend's name is Kyle. Kyle is the only person who has come forward with an account of what happened who was actually in the room that night, aside from Crazy Slick. Adriana was there too, of course, but she was not coherent.
Can you please just tell the story, because no one's gonna believe me, because I'm a quote drama who's fishing for attention, and you are the person who's there who doesn't even have a Twitch channel. So I would just love for you to tell the story really fast to the audience.
Adriana was just passed out in the bedroom, so we were sitting there taking care of her, making sure she's okay. And then Slick came in multiple times saying, like, is she okay? And, you know, saying that he just wants to feel her pulse and, like, was, like, you know, touching, like, your chest area and, like, your pulse. And, like, after we're telling you, like, you know, stop, we're good, you know, we're here. Just, you know, we're watching over here, we're making sure, okay, you don't need to do that. We asked him to leave, and he just kept doing that over and over and insisting that he needed to make sure she was all right, and just kept, like, trying to touch you, like, in your chest area. And that's not even, like, the one thing. Also, him trying to, like, kiss you and Anna, who's my girlfriend, at the party at the same night. So it's, like, not just that one situation. But when you ask someone to stop doing something to someone who's, like, incapacitated, then you should stop.
Adriana went on to claim that Maya had promised her that she wouldn't be kicked out of the friend group or blacklisted from the Austin streamer community if she came forward with her story. But according to Adriana, that's exactly what ended up happening.
Like, I wanted to give up on living because of the fact that it was just a joke to people. The fact that I was touched was a joke to people, and that nobody seemed to fucking care. And I saw right in front of my eyes the people that I thought were my friends leave, disregard our friendship for clout.
The next day on September 20th, Slick was found. Mizkif finally realized what he had to do. That night, he released a public statement. Hey guys, to update everyone, we found Crazy Slick. He has not harmed himself. After hearing from Adriana and the numerous other women who have shared their experiences with him, it's clear that he's not the person he made himself out to be. In terms of his living situation, Slick has been told to vacate our house as soon as possible. I appreciate and support those who were brave enough to come forward with their stories about his behavior. A little while after Slick's misconduct came to light last year, I made some inexcusable statements on an alt stream after some chat messages got to me. To Adriana and all those affected by sexual harassment, I am sorry for those statements. Sexual harassment, regardless of degree, can never be considered small, and while my intention was to clarify a misleading chat message, I chose my words poorly and my response came off as downplaying what should never be downplayed. He went on to say, I am sorry to everyone affected by this situation. I made bad judgment calls based on what I was led to believe, and I deeply regret it. I also want to apologize to OTK, our staff, and our partners who put their trust in me every day to represent our organization in the best way I can. OTK has informed me that the organization is in the process of contracting a third party to investigate the actions above. During this time, I will be taking a leave of absence and stepping away from organizational duties.
So, to get into it, I'm not trying to stall or anything, just wanted to preface everything properly. So to get into it, as of today, Slick is gone. He is gone. He'll be back on Sunday to pick up his stuff, but he's gone, and he's never coming back, obviously.
Just a few days later, Maya also released a statement, part of which said, "I did not go to the house that day with the intention of manipulating Adriana's story. I did not cover up SA. This would not be possible as even Adriana did not consider the incident to be SA until this past Monday, as she said on her stream. Adriana's feelings regarding the situation have rightfully changed since that day, and I support her. On that day, I was only able to operate off the information that was given to me by Adriana and the eyewitnesses at that time." Maya went on to say that she would be stepping away from the internet indefinitely. Slick has deleted his Twitter, but his Twitch remains a snapshot of a time that probably feels a world away from him now. Adriana has said that she's been working 2 jobs to support herself ever since her streaming career was stunted by all of this. And Mizkif's greatest fear has been completely realized. He said no to $10 million a year because he didn't want to be alone, but the fear of losing his best friend pushed him to either not look hard enough at serious allegations against Slick, or possibly to actively try to cover them up. And now he's lost his best friend anyway. Mizkif might also lose his place in the organization he founded, and a lot of people have been hurt badly, including the real victim, Adriana, whose story has finally been brought out into the light. Despite the ongoing third-party investigation into his conduct, Mizkif seems optimistic that he can salvage his career from this. After all, he did finally make the difficult decision to kick his best friend out of the house and cut ties. So he's returned to streaming, and his audience has returned to watching him. All he had to do was pay the one price he never wanted to.